Hello the Year 5s, it's Mr. Conway here. Now for today's how-to guide, this is going to be helpful for you when doing your arithmetic paper today. And I noticed in the arithmetic paper today there are a lot of division questions. And actually these are, I've written questions on here. So question 12 I think was division, question 12, 19, 27 and 28. Now even though these were all division-based questions, actually it was division done three ways in a way. There was three different types of division questions, and no, division three ways sounds like something you might order from a very posh restaurant if it was run by the mathematician Fibonacci. So I'm going to look at each of these types of division questions one at a time for you to help you with your maths today. Now the first question I'm going to be concentrating on is question 12 that's in your arithmetic paper. And in your arithmetic paper, the actual question says 93 divided by 100. Now, I'm not going to do this exact same question because I want you to have a go at that yourselves. Instead, I'm going to be doing 54 divided by 100. Now the method I use for this will be the exact same you would use for 93 divided by 100. So to solve this type of calculation, what we need to try and remember is that 54, even though it's a whole integer, there's still a decimal point in there. So if I write 54 here, I'm going to put my decimal point in there. So that's the same number. 4 is in my ones, 5 is in my tens. Now if I'm going to divide by 100, I need to make this number 100 times smaller. Okay, remember with division, everything gets smaller. I need to make this 100 times smaller. So if I'm going to make this 100 times smaller, which direction do I need to move the ones and the tens? So I'll put a little decimal point here because I'm going to be working down here as well. So I'm going to start with my 4 in the ones. It needs to move to the right of my decimal because it's going to get 100 times smaller. But by how many times? I need to move it twice to make it 100 times smaller. So my 4 will go 1 into the tenth place value, and then another jump to get into the hundredths place value. So I'm going to put a 4 down here. Now I'm going to look at the 5. My 5 is in my tens column. So my 5, to make that 100 times smaller, I'm going to move it to the right twice. 1, 2. And my 5 will end in my tenths place value. So the answer to this question, don't forget your 0 here, 54 divided by 100 is simply 0.54. So that's division one way for now, okay? That's the first example. The second example I'm going to give you is from question 19 on your maths arithmetic paper. And question 19 says 560 divided by 70, okay? So this is the type of division question I'm going to look at now. Now, I'm not going to do this one because that's your task to do. Instead, the calculation I'm going to do, which is very similar, is 640 divided by 80. Same method for this as you would use for your one, the one you have in your arithmetic paper. Now, you might look at this and think, oh my gosh, Mr. Conway, I've got a 3-digit number divided by a 2-digit number. It must be long division. Well, actually, it's much simpler than what you think. Because I've got 640 divided by 80, I can actually just scale this whole calculation down. Remember, mathematicians are very lazy. We like to keep things as simple as possible. So if I scale this down, I'm going to make it 10 times less on both sides. So if I made this 10 times less, I'd have 64. And the 80 would then turn into 8. So I've scaled it down. My answer will still be the same, but I've just scaled it down to numbers I'm much more familiar with. I could easily do this now. 64 divided by 8, remembering my 8 times table, and even though using my powers of 2 as well, so 8 squared is the same as 64. So 64 divided by 8 is also 8. So the answer to this calculation is therefore 8. So all you need to do if you see a calculation like this, don't panic, just scale it down to numbers that you are more familiar with. 64 divided by 8 equals 8. So there we are, that is division two ways now. Okay, the third way for division for today's maths arithmetic. And this one is the same, it's question 28 I'm looking at. Now question 27 is very similar and you do the same method. But in question 28, your calculation is this. 6,015 divided by 5. So this is a 4-digit number divided by a 1-digit number. Now I'm not going to do this calculation because that's over to you. The calculation I'm going to do, which is very similar, is going to be 2,272 divided by 4. So it's still a 4-digit number divided by a 1-digit number. Whatever method I show you now, make sure you use the same method for question 27 and 28. It will work for both of these, okay? First of all, I need to get my layout sorted out. So I'm going to put 4 on my divisor over here. Then I'm going to write 2,272. Put them under the bus. Stop. Waiting for the bus. Now then, when I'm using division here, start with my 4. I'm always going to start with my 1s, then move to my 10s, 100s. Oh, sorry, I'm going to start with my 1000s, sorry, because it's division here. Start with my 1000s, go to my 100s, 10s, and then 1s. So I'm going to start with this one. How many times does 4 go exactly into 2? Well, I'll start writing my 4 times table just to help me. 4, well, I just stop there, because 4 is greater than 2. So therefore, how many times does 4 go into 2? Well, it doesn't. It goes in 0 times. And I'm going to have 2 left over, because 0 plus 2 will give me this. And instead, I'm going to carry that 2 over to here. Now, the number I've made here is 22. So how many times does 4 go into 22 exactly? So I'm going to continue writing my 4 times table just to make sure. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Ha! I've now gone over because I wanted to get to 22. So how many times does 4 go into 22 exactly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, with how many left over? So what do I need to add to 20 to get to 22? 21, 22, 2. So I'm going to carry my 2 over to make 27. Right then, my next part, how many times does 4 go into 27? Notice, I'm just doing the exact same steps, the exact same method for each one of these digits. So how many times does 4 go into 27? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. Ha! I've now gone over. I've gone over 27. So how many times does 4 go into 27 exactly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times exactly. And what do I add to 24 to get to 27? 24, 25, 26, 27. It's 3. So I'm going to carry that over, and I've now made the number 32. I'm going to repeat the same steps again. How many times does 4 go into 32 exactly? Right, let's go back to my 4 times table. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32 exactly. Right, so how many times was that then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times exactly. So the answer to this calculation would be 568. Now, just to reiterate, you would use this exact same method whether this number here was 3 digits long, 5 digits long, 6 digits long, 100 digits long. You do the same method. So there you are, year 5s. That is division done 3 ways, and I hope it helps you with today's maths arithmetic. Apart from that, everyone, have a lovely day from me.